Hello my fellow hammerheads and welcome to the latest lore part for the Daughters of Khaine. In this video we will cover the social changes after the Broken Realms Morathi. But before we begin, I recommend that you buy and read the Battletome and the stories for yourself, because only this way we can support Games Workshop, the Black Library, their authors, and you can enjoy the unabridged stories for yourself. As always, I will provide the faction-specific terminology in the description box down below. As for every new wonderful being watching this, as every video could be someone's first, these lore videos are meant to be roleplayed. I don the mantle of a traveler, who gathers information about the lore and welcomes you in my newly set up Hammerhead Inn, which is located somewhere in the mortal realms. Now, I won't waste any more of your time, let's begin. Hello my friend. Welcome back to the Hammerhead Inn. Please, grab yourself something to drink. I will be right with you. I gathered new information for you, my friend. After the ascension of Morathi to godhood, there was more to uncover than I initially thought. I guess I will find more repercussions along my ways in the future, but as always, I will keep you updated. As Morathi's essence was sundered into two separate forms, the regal and beautiful Morathi Khaine, and the serpent-like Shadow Queen, she proclaimed that she is Khaine reborn. But she knew that not every daughter of Khaine would accept that, as Khaine is depicted as a male god, and that she has to play the long game of changing the religion into her favor. So slowly and in a very subtle way, the statues of Khaine are being changed to look like Morathi. If there were any daughters who went against Morathi's decree, or the changes done to the god of murder, well, they were murdered and sacrificed to Morathi. The reason? How could someone deny her divinity? Because Morathi's ascension was not only for her, but her daughters as well. The rising power in blood magic was the surest sign for the majority of the devotees of Morathi. One of the signs is the Heart of Fury. The invocation appeared above many war covens and sent the daughters into a delirious frenzy so that they might shrug off horrendous wounds. Morathi taught some of their most trusted sorceresses how to conjure the blade wind to cut through enemies. And the most gruesome of the blood magic manifestations is the Blood Rag Viper. The Melusai favor this spell, as it sinks to their malicious blood in their veins as it crushes their enemies. But that is not all. In my adventures through Ulgu, I discovered many scrolls and notes about the ages past. I told you once about the Temple Iron Shard, home of the Hagg Nar cult. There were some discrepancies in the notes I found a few months ago, and these ones told me the truth. It is Iron Shard, which is built atop the mountain known as Rothor, which lies at the center of a powerful spiral of death magic, and not Hagg Nar, as Hagg Nar is built atop the Helleflux. There is also an interesting event in the Age of Chaos which I uncovered. Hag Queen Tyrathi was sent forth with a host of daughters to retrieve an accursed dagger, the Crimson Blade, which apparently was forged and tempered in Khaine's blood. As she and her host nears the caverns in which the relic lies, they encounter a Khainite warband of mortals under the command of Ugdai, the exalted Deathbringer. After a long and bloody battle, Tyrathi grabs the relic which lies in a pool of blood and slices open Ugdai's throat. unbeknownst to her, that deed puts her on the watch list of Morathi. I recall from the times in the world that was, when the mortal followers of the Dark Gods were called the Hordes of Chaos. They had a similar crimson dagger. Many dark heroes wielded it, as it apparently was forged with shadow magic and tempered in vampire blood. There are similarities, and I will look further into this for you, my friend. In the Age of Sigmar, some daughters gathered the blood of a Gargant, but I was not able to find any hints for what. We will have to wait and see what their ultimate goal is, as we don't know what possibilities are given with the blood of a Mega Gargant. This is not the only event with a mysterious outcome. We know that the Lord Veritant, Kaiser Wembrecht, was freed from the clutches of Morathi's allies, and he brought word of her betrayal to Sigmar. The God King was furious, and so he sent forth 3 warrior chambers of the Hammers of Sigmar to take back Hagg Nar, former Anvil Guard. But as the battle raged on and the Hammers of Sigmar nearly lost, the first forged angel arrived. The Celestant Prime spoke with Sigmar's voice and offered the newly risen goddess peace. Both of them met at the former center of governance in Hagg Nar, and not even the most trusted daughters of Morathi were given permission to enter or take part in the discussions. After a day and night, the Celestant Prime emerged and ordered his brothers and sisters back to Azyr. Of what might have been transpired between these mighty beings, no one knows. I wonder, what did Morathi promise to the God King to keep her city? Might it be a hand as a hidden ally? It might tarnish Sigmar's name if he accepts her to claim Hagg Nar and leaves her unpunished. I hope that we will get a glimpse of it in the future when I venture into Azyr. With Morathi's gaze distracted, I used the lack of defenses and primarily the lack of walls to infiltrate Hagg Nar. It is a dark and great metropolis, and there are many places to hide if you are not willing to be seen by unwanted eyes. The streets reek of blood, and you will not hear the chatter of a busy market, but the screams of sacrifices. In the center of the city, Morathi and her high priestesses hold court, issue commands and decrees which will shape the future of the religion. But I discovered a path to darker places in the temple, a place in which only the goddess and her retinue are allowed. There were the brood caverns of the Melusai, the Slithásarath. I wasn't able to count them, but believe me, they were innumerous. But what struck me with awe were the beautiful depictions of Morathi as a goddess. As I told you before, she started to alter the statues of Khaine in a subtle way around the mortal realms. In Hagg Nar, her seat of power, the bards would sing another song. There are no more statues of Khaine in his masculine form, but fully transformed into Morathi, as every daughter in the capital knows of her divinity and will never question her goddess of murder. On my way out of the deepest caverns of Hagg Nar, I couldn't resist and had to see the Máthcoir, the Mother Cauldron. As High King Volturnus struck and destroyed the cauldron, many were unsure of the future of the Cauldrons of Blood, as they are magically linked to the Máthcoir. This link allowed the daughters to fill their cauldrons with as much blood as they wanted, and they never overflowed as the excess was ported to the Máthcoir. As I approached the rebuilt doors of the Khruthú, the chamber of the cauldron, I heard shrieks coming out behind the door. Before I could enter, I had to hide as a patrol of hag and slaughter queens brought some Leathanam thralls and tossed them inside. Their screams were cut short, and I overheard a conversation that the attempts to repair the cauldron ended in the creation of malformed monstrosities. so they had to be kept docile, and fed so that they wouldn't break the doors down and rampage through Hagg Nar. For the events outside of the inner sanctum and after Harkonnen, I talked to the citizens of many cities of Sigmar, and no one knew that the Shadow Queen is the other half of Morathi Khaine. Even the majority of the daughters inside Hagg Nar didn't know. She is presented as an ally to the goddess, gifted with the oversized version of her infamous spear, Heartrender. But as we both know, inside the belly of the Dark Prince Slaanesh, the strongest of the King Souls struck her before she could devour it, and sundered her physical form into two. Both Morathi Khaine and the Shadow Queen are sharing one soul and one consciousness. This, of course, does not come without a price. Depending on the situation, one of her aspects might overshadow the other, and it becomes harder to deny her murderous hatred. Sometimes, in her private chambers, Morathi talks and mutters to herself, only for her guardians to hear, and me of course. But she wonders if the damage on her soul will ever heal, or will it reveal the final cost of her ascension. No one would doubt her sanity, as every voice in the open would be silenced by her most loyal servants. Speaking of most loyal servants, since her ascension to godhood, the Scáthborn are no more the reclusive sisters hidden in the shadows. Many of them are seen in the open, and the sect has been discovered in the mortal realms, the Zainthar Kai, the Blood Saints. Initially, one of the most hidden secrets, they were only deployed in the Cathtrar Dhule. Their brood nests are hidden beneath many layers of shadow magic and illusions. As holy warriors of the daughters, their eyes spill crimson tears, and their scales and wings are flushed with holy blood. The crones are so mighty with rage and passion that nearby enemies die with their blood boiling in their veins. But even in a sect so rich with Scáthborn warriors, the leaders known as the Melusai Ironscales are a rare sight. Many believe that their souls were protected by their faith in Khaine to endure the torment, but the truth is more complex. It was not their faith, but their hatred against Slaanesh which formed these souls. Their hate was so strong that they retained a bit of self-awareness. After the extraction of their souls from the Dark Prince, Morathi took her time to form these souls into champions. For the other devotees, these champions speak with the voice of their goddess. They are honored with the privilege of hidden truths and their contribution in war councils. As full-time bodyguards to Morathi, they are the leaders of the famous Viperic Guard. The souls of the Iron Scales are woven with arcane wards to resist magical energies, as they are sometimes sent forth to retrieve certain magical artifacts to help Morathi in her plans, and these artifacts are well protected with magical traps. The weapon of choice differs from their sisters, as the Iron Scales wield serpent-crested staves known as Keldricithe. Shadow energy can be shot at the enemies, or with the correct words of power spoken, the serpents come to life and rip the heart out of their enemies. Before I forget, there is one more thing about the daughters which changed after Morathi's ascension: the appearance of her Shadowstalkers. As you might remember, they first appeared as messengers. They brought word of the Rharonite mines to Morathi and subsequently started her plans. Morathi kept them hidden because they are discreet assassins and thieves, proven by their act of stealing the Orcarian lantern from the Idoneth Deepkin. The Shadowstalkers are granted the Mirkath, the Shade Mark, a brand woven with Ulguan sorcery to grant the wearer supernatural abilities, but binding them eternally to Morathi. These brands allow them to leap from shadow to shadow. But not only that, the brand allows them to jump unimaginable distances using the umbral web. Like a spider's web, it binds every realm to each other. With abilities like that, They even forge pacts with shadow demons to obtain more power, such as to use the victim's own shadow to strangle it. This will take a toll on them. Not only does this shorten their lifespan, when cut they will bleed darkness, but they can use the shadow paths only because Malarian and Morathi laid waystones in the umbral web. Otherwise, a mortal would not be able to navigate the ever-changing ways between the realms. With the Mirkath, they can even slip by the monsters inhabiting the umbral web, huge winged beasts preying on the souls of mortals. But that is not even the worst part. If a Shadowstalker should spend too much time in the web, they will wither away and become a formless shade. Not even their brand might protect them against this fate. Not even Malarian and Morathi are able to hide in there forever, but Morathi uses it as an effective method to get rid of her ambitious followers. So my friend, these were the social changes I discovered after Morathi's ascension. I believe there will be more, but we will have to keep our eyes open for them. I'm keen to know what you think about everything I told you. Just leave me a note under my table, and I will write back as soon as I can. I would appreciate it if you would tell your friends of this place. It is a deep desire of mine to tell these stories to as many friends as possible. I would be in your debt. I hope you will lend your ear to my stories again. I have many more for you to quench your thirst for knowledge. You just have to listen for the bell, and you will know that I am here again, waiting for you. Have a good night, friend, and please, stay fantastic. Bye.